The phone buzzed. She barely glanced at it, thinking it was just another meaningless notification. Then she saw the words, "I'm with Craig tonight, don't wait up." Her chest tightened. The room felt smaller, the air heavier. She reread the text, hoping it was a mistake, a cruel joke, but no. The casual cruelty of it stung deeper than any slap could. And then she saw his name flash on the screen. He was typing something. She couldn't move, couldn't think. Her pulse raced. Her instincts screamed at her to run, hide, do anything, but she knew one thing: tonight would change everything. A shadow passed over her heart. Because he wasn't going to wait, either. He wasn't going to beg. He was going to act, and she would never see it coming. The night air outside was calm, but inside her apartment, a storm was brewing. She thought she had time, space, control. But when the doorbell rang, that illusion shattered. She opened the door. There he stood, calm, composed, holding a small black envelope. His eyes didn't waver. That smirk, the one that made her blood boil and heart race at the same time, was there. "I thought I'd save the waiting," he said softly, stepping inside without asking. Her instincts screamed, but curiosity, some stubborn part of her, made her stay. He placed the envelope on the table, and with a deliberate movement slid it toward her. She hesitated. Inside were tickets, photos, little notes she had long forgotten, pieces of their shared past. But there was something else. A single line written in bold letters. "Do you remember who you really are?" Her stomach twisted. Shock, confusion, and a strange thrill coiled inside her. He wasn't just here to remind her of the past, he was here to rewrite the rules of tonight. She had thought she understood him, that she knew his limits, his boundaries. Tonight she realized she had been blind. He didn't wait for her to speak. Instead, he took out his phone and showed her a string of messages, screenshots, and carefully collected evidence of things she had never noticed. "I know Craig seems fun," he said casually, "but the real game was never about him. It's about you." Her hands shook as he stepped closer. His voice dropped to a whisper. "You think you're in control? You're not. And you never were." The realization hit her like a punch. Every move, every decision she thought was hers had been anticipated. The room seemed to shrink, her breath shallow, her mind racing. And then, almost casually, he leaned in and said, "Tonight you'll see everything, not because I want to hurt you, but because you need to face it." Her pulse hammered in her ears. The game had changed, and for the first time, she knew she was not ready for what was coming. She couldn't stop thinking about the envelope. Every memory, every note, every ticket, it was as if he had plucked the past from her mind and laid it bare. He leaned against the counter, arms crossed, watching her unravel. "You think Craig understood you? That he knew what mattered? He never even came close?" Her voice trembled. "Then why now? Why all this?" "Because you've been blind. And tonight you either see or you stay lost." A chill ran down her spine. She realized he wasn't just testing her. He was forcing her to confront every choice she had ever made. And for the first time, she understood the truth. This was a game she didn't know she was playing. And the rules were his. Days, or was it hours? Blurred together. He was everywhere and nowhere, leaving subtle reminders, little traps, and hidden truths in his wake. She found messages from Craig she didn't remember, hints of lies, half-truths, and manipulations that painted everything in a new light. Her world was cracking, and with each crack she felt both terrified and alive. He entered the room suddenly, holding a cup of coffee as if nothing was amiss. "You're noticing now," he said quietly. "That's good. Most never do until it's too late." Her pulse quickened. "Noticing what?" "That your choices have been yours in appearance only," he replied. "And the moment you face that, the moment you understand, you become unstoppable." She swallowed hard. His words were like fire and ice, burning her pride, freezing her doubts. The game wasn't over, not by a long shot. He was relentless. Every conversation, every look, every gesture pushed her boundaries, forced her to question herself. "You trust too easily," he said, voice low, almost a growl. "You give away pieces of yourself without realizing how precious they are." She wanted to argue, to fight, but the weight of her own guilt and uncertainty held her back. Then came the challenge he had been waiting for. A riddle, a test, a scenario so carefully crafted that failing it wasn't just embarrassing, It was unsettling, terrifying even. She looked up at him, determination flickering in her eyes. Fine, I'll play. But I'm not afraid anymore. A slow smile spread across his face. Good, that's what I wanted to see. The first true battle had begun. But neither of them realized just how high the stakes would climb. The clock ticked like a drum in the silent apartment. Every second felt heavier, charged with unspoken words. She could no longer deny it. He had been orchestrating this all along. Every note, every message, every coincidental encounter had been a part of his plan. You're close, he said softly, leaning against the wall, eyes gleaming. Closer than you think, she shook her head, frustration boiling. I can't, this isn't fair, he smiled faintly. Fair? Life isn't fair. And neither is growth. Tonight you either break or rise. The weight of his words sank deep, igniting something raw inside her. Fear mingled with curiosity, anxiety with anticipation. She didn't know what was coming, but she knew one thing. She couldn't back down now. The night was darker than usual. Shadows seemed alive, moving along the walls like silent witnesses. He handed her a sealed envelope. Open it, all truths. No lies. Her hands trembled, heart racing. Inside were documents, photographs, and messages, proof of everything Craig had hidden. Lies she had never seen, manipulations she had never noticed. She staggered back. How did you know? I didn't just know. I prepared. You've been blind to what's real. But now, clarity is yours? She read through the evidence, each revelation a dagger twisting in her chest. Betrayal, deceit, half-truths, but also glimpses of the truth she had ignored in herself. He watched silently. Now you see, and soon you'll act, her mind raced. Every plan she had, every defensive move, felt suddenly obsolete. You underestimated me, he said, voice low, almost a threat. And that's fine, most do, but tonight, the game ends differently. She clenched her fists. Then let's end it. A tense silence filled the room. Both of them knew that after tonight, nothing would ever be the same. Every secret, every twist, every manipulation had led to this moment. And now, only one question remained: who would emerge in control? The plan was laid bare. Every move, every trap, every secret he had used to test her. It all became clear in a sudden, blinding rush. You think you're playing me? She whispered, voice steady now. But the truth is, I've been learning too. His eyes widened slightly, a flicker of surprise. Impressive, most would crumble. Few would see it coming. Her confidence surged. She realized that while he had forced her hand, shaped the path, and challenged her limits, she still had the final move. The storm of tension in the room reached its peak. Their minds clashed, their wills tested, and the real game, the one neither of them fully understood, was just beginning. She had thought she understood him. She had thought she saw through his every move, but tonight proved her wrong. Documents, messages, and subtle manipulations began to make sense of puzzles she hadn't even realized she was solving. You're learning fast, he said, his voice calm, almost admiring. But do you know the truth? The truth behind Craig, behind me, behind everything? Her pulse quickened. Tell me, he shook his head. No, not yet. First, you must see for yourself. Every shadow in the room seemed alive, every sound magnified. The tension was suffocating, and she realized she wasn't just being tested, she was being prepared for a revelation that would change everything. The night spiraled. Every conversation, every glance, every hidden note pushed her closer to the edge. You're stronger than I imagined, he said, stepping closer, eyes intense. But strength alone won't save you. Clarity will. And clarity comes at a price. Her hands shook, heart racing, but she refused to back down. The pieces of the puzzle, once scattered, were now forming a terrifyingly clear picture. She took a deep breath. I'm ready, he smiled faintly. Good, most never are. And with that, the stage was set. The confrontation they had both been moving toward was imminent, and nothing could stop the storm that was about to break. It all came crashing down. Secrets, lies, manipulations, they collided like crashing waves. You underestimated me, she said, voice cold, steady. And you thought you controlled everything. He froze for a fraction of a second, then smiled. Control is an illusion. The only thing real is choice, Every revelation, every hidden truth, every betrayal came to light. Craig's lies, her own doubts, his intricate plan, they all merged in a perfect storm of clarity and chaos. Her hands clenched into fists. Then I choose. Not fear. Not confusion. Not him, me. The room seemed to hold its breath. For the first time, she felt powerful, aware, unstoppable. The final veil lifted. He stepped back, watching her with quiet pride. You've seen it all, every truth, every lie, and yet you stand. She exhaled, strength flooding her body. I know now everything, the manipulations, the games, the lies. They don't define me. A quiet moment passed, filled only with the weight of truth. Every secret had been revealed, every psychological trap exposed. And she realized that the real battle had never been against him or Craig, it had been against her own fear, ignorance, and doubt. For the first time, she was free. Free to choose, free to act, free to rise. The first rays of dawn filtered through the blinds, painting the room in soft gold. The storm of the night had passed. Silence settled, heavy but freeing. She held the final piece of evidence, the last truth he had handed her. For a moment she let herself breathe, truly breathe. The weight of betrayal, manipulation, and doubt was still there, but now it felt manageable, almost empowering. He stood across the room, calm, watching her, the faintest smile tugging at his lips. You've done what few can. You've faced everything. And you've chosen yourself? She looked up at him, eyes steady, voice firm. I did. I faced it all. I see clearly now. Not fear, not anger, not lies. I see the truth. And I choose me? He nodded. Pride, respect, and perhaps something more flickered in his gaze. Then the world is yours now. The choices, the power. It's yours. For the first time in years, she felt free, not free from him. Not free from the past, but free from doubt. Free from manipulation. Free from the fear that had held her captive. She walked to the window, letting the morning light wash over her. The city outside was indifferent, chaotic, alive, but inside her, clarity and strength had taken root. She had survived the storm, faced the shadows, and emerged unbroken, unstoppable, and awake. And as she turned, meeting his gaze one last time, she knew this wasn't just an ending. It was a new beginning.